afternoon, everyone, and great to be back in Wareham, Cape Cod and vicinity. This is Harrison Young, your host of Topic Time, and we're going to have an awesome show tonight. It's a nice warm day as we approach the summer solstice. But before we do that, I've got to read these great underwriters, and then we will commence with the show, as usual. So, we got Crazy Axes Recreation Center in Hanover. We got the Candy Store in Pembroke. They're in Newland. We got Barnacote Monuments in Middleborough. We got Pembroke Radiator in Pembroke. We got Tom Otto in Middleborough. We got the Main Ingredient Just Good Food in Middleborough. We got Fiesta Chara Family Mexican Restaurant in Carver. We got New England Floorscapes in Middleborough. We got Genuine's Inspection in Middleborough. We got Salon Giovanni in Marshfield. We got Countertop Specialists in Pembroke. And we got the Gunrunner LLC in Middleborough, dedicated to your Second Amendment rights. I want to thank you guys very much. And on that note, I will now introduce this young lady, this lovely young lady. This is Daniela Andrade. She's a cosmetologist, and I guess she's also a comedian.
Yeah, I am both. Yep.
She's both these things. We're going to talk to her tonight. I always love it when guests have different backgrounds that I've never seen a combination thereof, and this is definitely a case like that. So Daniela, first of all, I want to thank you for coming in and being on Topic Time with me tonight.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I'm delighted. I mean, I always say it's great guests to make Topic Time prime. Okay, well, you know what I do with all my guests, you don't look too old. So let's talk about your childhood, first of all, and we're going to work our way forward and how it got you to where you're at now. What were you like as a kid? Where did you grow up? I assume it was the South Coast. Well, that's where you're at now, but you tell me, and then we'll break it down a little bit further as we go in the conversation, then we'll work our way forward, and then, from to the present day, and then looking toward the future. So go ahead, start with the childhood, and let's work it from there.
All right. Well, so I did grow up in Acushnet.
Okay. Sounds like a sneeze, doesn't it? Acushnet.
Yeah, it does kind of.
I love throwing that stuff in. Same as the town of Methuen. I had a guest from there a couple of years ago, and I said the same thing. Methuen. Yeah, that's north of Boston. But go on.
Yeah.
Okay,
so I grew up in Acushnet. My parents moved here from Portugal.
Okay. Yeah, I figured the Portuguese name, Andre.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And as a child, I danced, so
Okay.
I grew up dancing. I went to dancing school and then ended up doing competitive dance.
Cool.
So, yeah.
You still do it now?
I don't compete anymore, but I do still dance, yeah.
Well, how young were you when you started dancing school?
I was 8,
wow.
Which is actually pretty late. You usually start when you're like 3 or 4.
Yeah, I've heard that. But 8's not that old either. That's pretty good.
Right, 8 is it's still pretty young.
Okay. You like the fast stuff?
I do like the fast stuff. I did not have the
flamenco,
attention span.
what are they?
I don't know how to flamenco.
Well, that's like the fastest dance in the universe, so I'm told.
Is
I was
it?
watching Seinfeld last night, and they were talking about it. It originated in Spain, and I'm sure Portugal picked it up at some point.
They're neighbors, so
right,
I
exactly.
could see how it would happen.
The neighbors, and I believe one spawned another too. I believe Spain spawned Portugal, although I haven't studied history in a while. But there are definite similarities, and as you said, they are neighbors. All right. Well, now let's just backtrack a little bit. So your parents, were you born in Portugal?
No, I was not. I was born here.
You were born here.
In
Okay.
Bedford.
Have you been to Portugal?
Oh, a bunch of times.
Okay.
All the time.
Because you have family there, right?
Yep.
Okay. And so are your parents still citizens of Portugal, even though they live here?
Yeah, they are. They have both.
Okay. Cool. And I noticed as we talk a little bit, I noticed you sort of have a dialect too.
Do I?
A little bit, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, it's sort of a little bit. I'm just sort of detecting it. I have these little intersperses of internal observations that I make regularly. Sometimes they're wrong, but I still like making them. That's what so we cover all the bases. All right, so you did dance for a while. When you say competitive, you're talking about were you in like dancing tournaments as a kid?
Yeah, I would go to competitions
Okay.
and compete against other dance schools in the area, and then we would have places like all over the country.
Okay, and what kind of dancing did you do? Let's break it down to the exact type of dancing you did.
I did. It was tap and jazz and contemporary and hip hop.
Okay.
But I really liked tap.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's like soft shoe.
Soft shoe?
You never heard of soft shoe?
No.
Okay. Well, soft shoe is like it's an old kind of dance going back to maybe 100 years ago. I think mostly guys do it. They wear these castanets on their shoes, and they make clicking sounds when they hit the floor.
Oh.
You never heard of that, I guess?
No, but I guess it's very similar because that's tap shoes are soft shoes with little metal.
Right. Right. They make a good sound, and it's cute. Okay.
It's not a cute sound.
Well, in terms now, have you done any how did you? All right. So, did this spawn into acting at all, or entertainment in any way, aside from just dancing?
No, it didn't. It just stayed as dancing.
Okay, it just kept you busy dancing.
Yeah, and it introduced me to the stage, which I always gone back to.
Well, you say the stage, and that's why I'm asking about entertainment. So you're dancing on stage?
Yep.
Okay.
So it's always on, like, usually in a stage or an auditorium or a
Okay.
theater.
And that's for the competitions.
Yep.
Okay. What about like you ever gone to discos or anything? Or they're kind of dated now, but I think they're still out there.
I haven't been to a disco.
Never in your whole life?
No, I've been to like a club. Is that what you mean?
Well, a club, but a disco is something like going back to the 70s. Now, you probably weren't even around
I've
in the 70s.
never been to a disco.
And then it kind of like fizzled out in the 80s. But you ever seen the movie Saturday Night Fever with Travolta from 1977?
I have not
That's the
seen
year I
it.
graduated high school. But that's amazing. But yeah, you probably weren't around. You weren't around in the 70s, were you?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, that's okay. That's why we passed through a lot of years, and things do change, and we learn in the new trends. All right. Well, so how did this lead to? Let's fast forward a little bit. Now, you never did any acting at all, right? Because you said
No.
you do comedy though.
Yeah, I do. So then in high school, I started doing like local pageants.
Okay. What kind of pageants?
Like Miss Apple Peach, which is Acushnet.
Beauty pageants, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You certainly are qualified.
Thank you.
Okay.
But so yeah, I started doing so Miss Apple Peach, and then there were other local ones too, and I was not very good at them, but it was always kind of funny when I was up there and had my open response questions because I would never really know how to answer
Okay,
them.
and in a way, like these pageants were like, almost like the Miss America pageant where they ask you, how would you stop word of hunger and things like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And I, at 15, had none of those answers.
Well, I got
you
a
know?
feeling people at 55 have none of those answers either, or however
Right.
long they do the pageants for. Otherwise,
Yeah.
because otherwise there wouldn't be world hunger anymore. Somebody would take, or all the other problems of the world that we have. All right, so you did this in high school, and what did you do past high school?
After high school, I went straight to hair school
Okay.
because you need a job.
Yep.
And I started working in a salon right after that. And then I still stayed dancing. I didn't compete anymore.
Okay.
I would
just because it was fun and you felt good.
Right,
and
and
it's
it's
healthy to do.
exercise.
Yes.
I am not a gym person.
Right.
I can't do it unless it's fun for me.
Of course.
So yeah, dance was always a great form of exercise, and I would always go back to that. But never really performing again until probably this past year.
Perfect.
Right
Talk
before
about that.
COVID.
What brought that on?
I was looking for dance
I
classes.
mean, in a good way.
Yeah.
obviously. Right.
I was looking for dance classes, and I found one in Providence. It was with this girl, Tony.
Okay.
And it was, it's called Heels and Hype. That's her, like, brand.
Yep.
So I just started taking classes with her, and she was like, we're doing these showcases. Do you want to join in? And I was like, sure. And I didn't think I was ever going to do anything like that again.
Wow.
Right.
Well, I always say everything happens for a reason, and sometimes it takes a while, for things to bloom to fruition, as in this case.
Yeah, and that's
Okay.
also, yeah, of course. You never know what could happen. You could just go into something thinking it's going to be horrible, and then everything could change in such a great way coming from that one thing.
Right, and it obviously did for you.
It did. It got me back into entertaining. It kind of lit my spark again.
Okay. Lit a fire under you, if you will.
Right.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So-
All right, well, talk about, so how did this lead to comedy?
Well, I had been doing comedy before then.
Well, all right, when did that start?
In 2017.
Okay, so 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what got you started doing comedy?
My friend, she lives in LA. She
Okay.
doesn't live here anymore, and she was doing it out there, and she was like, "You got to do it too." And
Cool.
I was like, "I don't think so." And she was like, "But I'm doing it out here, and I think that this would be a fun way for us to have something to talk about."
Absolutely.
And I was like, "That's a horrible idea to do all of that work just to have something to talk about." But I did, and I have not stopped doing it.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's not just to have something to talk about. It's to
We don't
enjoy
even
it.
talk about it anymore. We
Right.
found other things, but I don't. It was just like.
Comedy's great anyway. You know
It is
that.
so fun, yeah.
Well, tell me about the comedy. You do stand-up comedy in certain, like venues like Mohegan Sun, Foxwoods, or any of the other places.
I haven't done it there at all yet, but I do have a show coming up in Mohegan Sun. I think it's their Comics Roadhouse.
Okay,
I'm doing a show there on August 5th,
cool.
and it's my birthday.
Congratulations.
So thanks.
Yeah, that's swell.
yeah, so it should be a fun night.
Yeah, it should be. Okay. But going back to 2017 when you started this, how many clubs do you think you've worked your way around doing comedy since then? How many gigs have you had? I mean,
Not
ballpark.
too many. You got
Okay.
to counter in like COVID and.
Of course, obviously.
Yeah,
COVID.
and I have
Yeah.
always been taking. Believe that it is a marathon,
Okay.
not a sprint.
Oh, it's true. No,
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. It's not a sprint. You got to,
It's
Have you ever done any comedy on YouTube?
no, I haven't.
You
I
might
don't.
want to. I mean, you might want to practice doing that, especially. I mean, we're still the virus is. We're almost done with the virus, but in the meantime, practice on YouTube and send it out. And get some subscribers. See what happens. I always try to give advice to my guests.
Yeah.
Like that. So that might be a good idea too. That you want as many people in your corner as possible. And I know a lot of comedians because I've had several on my show. I had one here not too long ago named Steve DiNuccio. He's from Providence.
Oh
You know
yeah, I
Steve?
see Steve all the time.
Oh, you do? You're friends with him?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay. Well, he was a great guest on the show. He did my last show here.
Oh really?
I believe it was April 7th.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, something like
I just
that.
saw him the other night.
Yeah. Oh, did you? Okay.
He's
What about
yeah.
John Perrotta?
Yep, I
Okay,
see
he
him
was a
too.
guest
I
on the show,
haven't seen
too.
him in a while.
Okay, so you must have worked with these folks, right? At some point, or just? Or
I've worked with them, yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Now talk about the kind of material and we're going to talk about your hairstyling too. Obviously, that's your work. Well, you
Yeah, I
are a
do. Yep.
hairstylist.
During the day, yep, I'm a hairstylist by day.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this: do you ever incorporate your comedy in your hairstyling at all?
I don't.
You ever think?
No.
You never thought of giving that a wrinkle? I mean, it
I
might be a
didn't because I'm worried that
good,
maybe
you might offend somebody.
it might get people to not want to come see me. You know?
Oh, I see. Okay, well, if you have those fears, then I would suggest not doing it unless you, well, but now here's something that might, because remember you've already pushed back a few ideas and it turned out they were great when you found out when you actually tried them, like your friend in L.A. So let's say you have a client for your hairdressing that really thinks you're funny as you know what. So then then maybe she'll spread the word, or if you guys too, if you have guys in your chairs.
I do.
Good. So guys love to laugh too. So tell them, see if they can. Don't you ever tell your customers about your comedy?
I don't.
Never?
I don't. I try not to. Yeah.
Do you own the salon where you work?
So I rent my chair, so I work for myself.
Well, there
but
you go.
I do work. Yeah.
Well, it might be. Well, what harm could it do?
What if it's not funny and they
No.
call?
You don't
No.
understand. No, that's not what I'm saying. I don't mean be funny while you're cutting their hair. You want them to pay you for both. You want them to pay you for the haircut and to get to see you on stage. So what I'm suggesting is tell them. And by the way, if you like the haircut I gave you, come see me over at the Comedy Connection, and you'll love the comedy too. The worst thing they can say is, okay, I'll just stick with a haircut, right? I mean,
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm talking about people. Do you have regular clients that you? Okay, well, I'm sure
Yeah.
they're not going to run. Why would they run out on you just because you suggest they come see you make people laugh?
I mean,
Everyone
you're
loves to
right.
laugh, don't they?
Everyone does love to laugh, and we all need to laugh right now.
Well, let me ask you something. Who are you? Do you have any We all need to laugh anytime. Do you have any inspirational comedians that you can name off the top of your
I
head?
really love Mike Birbiglia,
Okay.
and I really
The
like.
desk isn't really dirty, but I guess
No, it
that's
was a little dusty.
Oh,
I
it
had
is?
to get it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Am I sure that's not just a little a compulsion you have there?
A little bit of both.
That's kind of funny, actually.
Is it okay?
It's all right
I'm
with
just
me.
gonna right. I'm
Hey,
just
listen,
gonna
you
clean
want to
it
make
off.
the desk a little shinier? It's
Yeah, I had to. I always have to clean wherever I am.
good.
So
Okay. It's better than to make it dirtier.
I'm like a nervous cleaner.
That's okay.
You know.
That's funny. I like it. Okay. So what were we talking about? Okay,
yeah,
your
we're-
inspirations. You were talking about the people that inspire you for your comedy.
Yeah, I love a good story.
Of course.
You know.
Yep.
I'm not really a one-liner
Oh,
comedian.
no, I know.
It's
You
not
want-
for me. I try, but they're not funny.
Okay, now that we've established this. So when you go up to do your comedy, are you pretty much it's pretty much all about you, right?
Me
You
or
berating yourself like some people do? Not in a
no,
bad way.
I don't really want to do that. You
know?
know?
Okay.
I believe that our words are powerful, and if I'm
They are
going up
powerful.
there saying that I hate myself and
No,
that
no,
I'm
no, no. I don't mean
worthless,
no. I don't mean
or-
hate yourself. You don't.
well, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know. I mean just.
Ultimately, that's kind of what
playful
you're.
berating is not the same as saying self-hatred. There's a big difference.
Is there?
Of course.
I don't know. I feel like it comes out as playful, but I mean internally it's
Well,
kind
if
of.
it hurts you to do it, don't do it. But if you make people laugh, then listen. You got to do what you got to do.
Everybody's got their own style
Everybody's
of
got
comedy.
their own deal. Now-
I'm not saying that they don't, but
Okay.
for me personally, that's not really what I want to do.
Okay. Well,
Um,
okay. You tell me what you want to do then.
I just want to be able to tell stories that
stories.
maybe someone can relate to, that
Okay.
come off as funny.
Yep.
I just want people to maybe forget about the things that they
That don't make them laugh.
Right,
Yeah,
or like,
okay.
we all have hard lives,
Oh.
and maybe if for 5 minutes I can get your mind off of that and make
course.
you laugh a little bit, then that's kind of all I'm really trying to do.
Okay, now a few minutes ago I asked you, do
Sorry.
you ever incorporate your comedy with your hair clients? Now what I'm going to ask you is, do you ever incorporate your hair clients with your comedy? Meaning, do you say funny things about your clients when you're on stage without actually naming them?
No, I don't.
You don't do that either?
Sometimes I will test out a joke on my clients, like I'll pick a day, because you're basically telling the same story all day, every day anyways.
Oh, right.
So I'll practice with them. I don't know if they know it or not, but I'll just kind of like bring up the topic.
Okay.
And see if they think it's funny.
Well, that's smart. That's
Yeah.
a good thing. It's
Two
subtle,
birds,
and it
one
works.
stone.
Yeah. Okay. Have you ever done anything musical besides dancing? You ever played any instruments, sang?
No, I
Never-
sing karaoke.
Okay.
But that's about it.
Okay. Well, how do you do with that? I mean, have you ever won a contest doing karaoke?
No, does anybody win a contest?
Well, I thought they had like you can win free drinks if enough people don't leave the audience when you're done.
Yeah, I think the whole point is to sing bad, right?
No, I didn't know. I've never been
No?
in a situation where there was karaoke going on.
Oh,
I didn't know
it's
that.
pretty fun.
I've heard of. I mean, I had a friend that used to sing it, but I
You've
was
never sang karaoke,
I never did.
but you've heard of it?
I've heard of it. Yeah. I usually when I sing something, it's something. If I make up a song, it's got crazy lyrics. You know, I did write a song once in 2003. I took piano lessons for 7 years.
What was it about?
It was about a girl that I liked at work, and it's a fictional situation because there wasn't anybody. But I
Yeah.
wanted it to sound like I was, like I really loved the girl at work. And I thought about her all the time when I was at work. I didn't even have a job in 2003, so
But
that's
you
why
know what?
it's hypothetical.
That's real art.
Exactly, I know.
Yeah.
So I went to my former piano teacher to have him to try it on him, and he said, well, you might want to raise the octaves a little bit. Didn't really come out that good, but piano lessons I took for 7 years, and I love music, and people told me I was really talented, but I never felt I could make a career of it, so eventually I just gave it up at 13 and moved on. But I'm glad I tried it though, and I'm glad I.
Right, and you can always play the piano now as a
Exactly.
form of enjoyment.
Well, no, I can't. I
or
don't have a
therapy.
piano.
Oh, yeah, I don't have a piano either.
It would help if
Maybe
I had
a
one.
keyboard or an amp on your phone.
Well, I suppose I could make one. I could probably get an
Right.
app one there.
Yeah.
Oh, but but what I usually do is I usually post lyrics on Facebook to songs that I like. They're as crazy as can be. The newer ones that have the lyrics that are kind of like that cut deep. Sometimes they're raunchy lyrics. That's the kind of thing I like. You've never done real singing. What about the idea of making up songs that you can sing that are comedic as well? Some comedians do that.
They do that as well. I've never really thought about it. I do have some friends that do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Now, your friends, when you perform on stage, and you have done that a few times.
Yep.
Do you have people that you perform regularly with, how many
Yeah.
people have you worked with overall when you've done your comedy on stage?
I don't know. I don't really count them as I work with them,
Okay, but I assume there's been quite a few.
Yeah, I mean, I've
Okay.
been doing it for a few years, so,
Yeah,
you kind of
4
meet other
years.
people in the scene. You go out into other groups, other parts of the state.
Yeah.
I go out to, like, Western Mass every once in a while
Oh yeah, you've
on
gone to
Wednesdays.
Worcester and around there.
Yep, to Worcester. Also, I think it's East Hampton or
Oh yeah,
North
East Hampton.
Hampton.
That's further west. Yeah.
Yep,
Or
kind
on
of close
Route
to
2.
Springfield. Yeah, so I mean, you go out and you meet people, but you don't always see them that often. I don't know.
Okay.
That
How much time a week do you spend like writing material? Like, do you brainstorm for writing material? Do you set aside time where you can write material for your comedy?
I do. I write every day.
You do? Okay.
I do. I write every day. I wake up in the morning and I try to go to the beach. I tried to start that during COVID.
Okay.
So it's kind of hard to keep up with it now that everything is kind of starting back up again.
Right.
But when I didn't have to work, I would go to the beach every day and I would pick up coffee and write for about an hour and a half.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's good. That's dedication.
Yeah, and I miss it. I don't get to do it as often now, but it was so important.
7 days a week, right?
Yeah, because what else was I going to do?
Right. Okay. Oh, no, exactly. Okay.
There wasn't anything else to do.
So tell me, you ever modeled at all?
Have I ever modeled? I have done.
It looks like the pictures I've seen on Facebook. You look like you're model material.
Thank you. I have done like a a couple of fashion shows for some friends that were designing clothes, but I've done hair and makeup for Style Week in New Providence.
Okay.
So
But
I
I
kind of
mean,
do a little bit of all the things.
So, but you have walked on the walkway, right?
Yeah, a couple of
Okay.
times.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, they must have thought you looked pretty good, or they wouldn't have asked you to walk.
Well, so I think what happened, I'm like always there in a pinch. So
Yep.
I was doing hair and makeup for it, and then the girl didn't show up, and she was like, "Will you just walk in this?"
Wow.
Yeah, and I was like, "Okay."
Talk about catching a huge break.
I get those a lot, you know.
I always say everything happens for a reason. Wow.
Right.
Well, were you nervous when you did it? I assume because you'd never done it before. It was just the first time.
It was the first time, but I wasn't really nervous because I tried not to think about it as
Okay.
anything other than like maybe say dancing
Right.
and just being on a stage. So I kind of took the moment and was like, "You get to have fun with this."
Exactly. Okay. So now currently you say you're back to dancing again, right? A little bit.
I'm trying to get back into dancing. I've actually not been able to dance as of probably for a little while.
Well,
Just
how long?
for schedule.
Oh, because you schedule.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I do wanna find a new class to get to soon.
Okay. Teach it. Or, have you ever taught dancing?
I used to teach dance as a high schooler.
You did.
I did.
You
to,
taught
like,
it as a high
small
schooler?
Yeah.
To the other students.
Yeah, to like
Okay.
smaller kids. And that's exhausting.
Well, it might be exhausting, but it
'Cause
must,
they are
but
little.
how fulfilling it must be when you can teach a bunch of teenagers to shake them down.
Right, because they don't care. They're teenagers. They're just here.
Well, but just here, but I mean, you gave them direction and motivation, or maybe not in that order.
Yeah, and maybe I don't realize what it was then, but yeah, it's cool to see them all together on stage
Oh, yeah.
doing the material that you tried to teach them. So
Well, there you go. I mean, you've proved when you see that's got to be some reward for you.
it is. It does feel good at the end of the year.
Is that
but-
your own high school that you're talking about that you went to?
No, that was at my dancing school. So
Okay.
I went there in high school and I was competing and I also taught like as a student teacher.
Okay. While you were a student as well?
Yeah.
No kidding. That's interesting. So you got to be a student teacher as a student.
Yeah, I was always really busy.
Yeah, I know. But the fact that I mean, you must have been. I assume your GPA must have been pretty good in order to be able to do that.
No, they didn't have anything to do with each other.
Well, they didn't. Well, I mean,
No.
the fact that they wanted you. Well, who allowed you to student teach at your own?
My
high-
dance teacher. It wasn't at my high school. It was at my dance school.
Oh, it was your dance school. It had nothing to do with-
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about when you were a student in high school.
Oh, no.
Did you go to? Now you went to hairdressing school, right?
Yes.
Was that the only? Did you do any other education after that? Did you go to college at all?
I did try college for a couple of months, but it is not for everybody.
No, I know it isn't.
Yeah.
And if
I
you ever
was
want to
like,
go back,
eh.
you've still got your whole life.
Yeah, exactly. So
I mean, I didn't
like,
start college till I was 26. I never thought I'd go when I got out of high school.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the time I was doing a lot and it was just like, maybe this isn't the right time.
Okay. Well, you know what felt right. Where did you try it though? Where did you go?
I went to BCC.
That's,
great
oh,
campus.
that's Bristol, right?
Yep.
In Fall
in
River.
Fall River.
Funny, I looked at Bristol in 1985 when I was looking at colleges, and it looked like a nice school. They had a nice library, and it was a nice, quiet area. And I ended up doing Mount Ida instead of Newton, because the lady that was the program director of communications happened to be there the day that I showed up to check it out. So I always feel that that's always a plus when you want to talk to the person that's in charge of the department that you're interested in. So you just tried it for a couple of months and then you left.
Yeah.
Okay, so where did you go to hairdressing school?
I went to Paul Mitchell in Cranston.
That's the best. So
It is the best.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a great school. It was a great time.
Your
and-
hair looks wonderful. You must do your own hair.
Thank you. I do. I do my own hair, but today I just washed it.
Yeah, it looks. I like the crimp look. I mean, the Mariah Carey crimp look that sort of
Crimp look?
broke in the '90s when she began her career.
Yeah, the 90s are coming back.
They're right. I'm guessing you were probably born right at the
Just right at the start.
Start, yeah.
93.
93. Wow.
Yep.
I would have said even younger.
Yeah. Well, hey, thanks.
Yeah. Well, 90. Yeah, that's.
The eye cream is working.
Well, Mariah Carey had already been on the scene for 3 years by then. She broke in 1990 with Vision of Love, and then after that, Emotion. Well, she did that other song that she did after that, Vision of Love, and then Someday, and then I didn't. That's the one I really liked. The first one I didn't. Yeah. All right. Well,
Yeah.
so how often do you work doing your hairdressing?
I try to just work on the weekends.
Okay. You're really.
Yeah.
So you basically make your own schedule because you work for yourself.
Right. I
Wow.
don't like working. I mean, I like working. I know we have to work, but I don't want it to be, the the whole ordeal.
No, I understand. No, but it's great. You
Right.
obviously balance your schedule very well.
I try to.
Yeah.
I have a big planner that I'm like obsessive about, and
Yeah.
it's
Very
how you
organized.
keep it all together. You have to be.
Just the fact that you showed up here on time proves that.
I am a very punctual person.
Yeah.
I don't
I wish
like
all my
being
guests
late.
were as punctual as you were.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Well, have me back then. I'll be on time.
Well, I believe it. Some of them show up an hour late or longer.
That gives me so much anxiety just thinking
helps
about
that
it.
You weren't too far away though. It helps that we get that.
Right. I think I was about 25.
Right.
Not far.
25 minutes away. All right. Well, guess what? We're under 5 minutes to go. So here, like I said at the beginning, now if you don't have anybody you want to give shouts out to, that's fine. But we're under. You want to say you want to talk about things that you have going on that you didn't mention before we wrap the show up. Go ahead.
I don't think I have anything going on, but thanks for watching. I didn't know anyone would be watching, so if you are,
Well,
thank you very much.
Well, they will be.
Well, it's weird for me to, because I've never done anything like this before.
Well,
You
that's
think,
great.
who wants to talk to me? Who wants to hear me? Nobody, but...
Well, I think that can't be right. Look at all the people you've worked with. I would suggest, now you don't have to do it, but the people that you do comedy with, you might want to give shouts out to. Your friend in LA, she can see the show.
Courtney, if you're watching, hey, I'll
Yeah.
call you later.
There you go. Okay. Well, I'm just saying, there are going to be people that that are going to see it. All right. Now, the other thing I do with all my guests before we wrap the show up is to say is if you had a good time with me, which I hope you did.
I did. It was so nice.
Thank you. Well, so what I'm going to ask you is that if you have any friends that are having interesting stories to tell, I'd love to get them on as guests. That's how I get a lot of my guests, through word of mouth.
Yeah.
So have them, you got my digits, have them call me, text me or whatever, and we'll get them on.
Awesome. I actually do know a bunch of people that I think would love to be on this.
Well, that's great. That's
you.
what I love to hear. I'm scheduling guests for the summer as we speak. Right now I'm booked through July 1st, and I like to keep that going. So feel free to give them my digits. My phone number is an open book on a small phone.
Yeah, I get that.
Well, guess what? You did a great job with me. I had a wonderful time interviewing you. I appreciate that you came in. You're a very fashionable young lady.
Thank you.
Very sweet.
Thank
very very talented, obviously, and that's it. So.
Should we snap along to
Well,
the
you
beat?
can snap along when we finish up. Okay. So are you ready to wrap it up the way we began it?
Let's do this.
Okay, folks. Thanks for watching Topic Time in Wareham and other vicinity. We'll see you next time. Have a good one. Bye bye.